What's up, y'all? This is Beyond 21 with KateLynn and Callie. And who are you?
I'm Abby.
That's my best friend, Abby, y'all. Alright, so today we're just going to be having a conversation with Abby. Just kind of getting to know her a little bit, and then just wherever the conversation goes from there. So keep listening. We're bringing it right to you here in a second. Okay, y'all. So, like I said, this is my best friend, Abby. Tell us about yourself, Abby.
Well, I am 23. I got married a year ago. I do hair. That's pretty much hair. That's pretty much all I do. Honestly, I don't have time for anything else.
So, me and Abby, we've always kind of been friends. I mean, I would say, all through school we were always friends, but we started being best friends when we started going to church together.
But I feel like we were really close in middle school.
We were, but when we got separated by the different classes in high school, it kind of caused a kind of separation.
But I was best friends with Blake.
She was best friends with Blake in high school.
Yeah. Before KateLynn. Like before they dated. And Blake came up to me one day. He was like, I have to tell you something. I was like, what? He was like, I'm talking to somebody. And I was like, who? He was like, I can't tell you. And I was like,
was it me?
Yeah. And I was like, why can't you tell me? Like, what's the point? And then finally, I think he was like, it's KateLynn. And I didn't want to tell you because y'all go to church together and nobody can know yet because you just broke up with, what was his name?
Well, he actually broke up with me.
Well, whatever. And I was like,
didn't want him to hear this.
Are you going to come to church with us? Like, I was so excited. And then it took a while, but he finally.
It did. We started dating in December, and he didn't go to what? I was gonna ask why did he tell you? Just because y'all were good friends?
Like we were, and then he's gonna say that I stopped talking to him.
Oh,
because
I'll ask him about that later.
Yeah, he always throws that in there.
He does. He
like,
has
Abby,
to do
stop
that.
talking to me.
Yeah, he did that.
But we were all still friends.
Yeah,
it was just a rough year.
It was. But
transition,
So we started when we had our church split. At our church that me and Callie grew up in, we started coming to your church
that I grew up in.
Yes, and then that's where me and you started being friends again. I think we were like 16. We started going to church.
Y'all were like together. The first youth that we ever had because I was the only one for a long time.
Yeah,
because my brother just never really came.
Yeah, well, so that really started me and Abby on our little friendship journey, and then we graduated, and then we really got tight because we were doing everything together, like
every day.
On one of the previous episodes, I think it was last week's episode, I talked about that Hardy concert where we met Hardy. So you want to tell your little story about that? What do you remember about it? Did you believe that I had the meet and greets, or did you think it was a scam?
You. No, I believed you. But I honestly, I was so now I'm mad because I was like, I'm ready to go, and KateLynn was not ready to go. But like Morgan Wallen came out, and now I'm like, I literally saw him before he got popular.
Swear.
And we left because KateLynn she let us give up on it, and I'm so mad about it.
I did. I got my meet and greet, and I was ready to dip.
But I do tell everybody, I'm like, I got to see Hardy and Morgan Wallen before they were really big.
Yeah, we got to meet Hardy, take a picture with him and everything.
He's very short.
He is. He's a lot shorter than I thought he was.
Tall for a girl, but like he's short for a guy. Like I'm pretty sure I was taller than him.
Yeah. We did a lot of concert going and doing.
A lot.
That's where me and Abby really got to where we was like tight. We was like always together. If you seen one, you seen the other one. And then the marriages happened.
Yeah.
And we don't see each other anymore that much. But life happens, and that's how it is. And so we're going to kind of get into that a little bit. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I absolutely hate it, for one, because I feel I just feel like I don't have any friends anymore, but I do. But it's also my fault because I want to work and I want to make money, and everybody needs their appointments usually after work in the afternoon. So that's me getting off work 7:30, 8 o'clock almost every single night. And so then it's the days that I might have somebody cancel, or I might just be getting off like at a decent time. Like sometimes when I get off at 6 o'clock, I'm like, oh, I get off early today. And that's so sad. It really is. But
it's just 2 hours later
like,
than I get
I'm
off.
so ready to go home because I don't know what it's like to be at home during the daylight at all.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to make my hours more. And now that I'm more established, like I can do that.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Well, you were like biting tooth and nail to get those clients, like when you started working over there.
Yeah. And I want a house so bad. So I am working hard, trying to save money.
Trying to get back into Cherokee County?
Yes.
Got to get there with that
live
family.
in Piedmont, if y'all don't know. And I absolutely hate living in Piedmont.
We have some listeners in Piedmont. They're actually one of the top, I think, 5 listeners.
I'm sorry. I don't hate Piedmont. It's just that I literally have no one there. Like
There's no family in Piedmont.
Devin's aunt lives in Piedmont, like close to us. But I don't even know how to get to her house.
But also,
and she lives probably 5 minutes away, but I literally have no clue.
You didn't grow up with her. Like, you grew up in the Flatwoods.
Flatwoods for life.
So she's trying to get back to the Flatwoods.
Yes, I want to be back in the Flatwoods.
Got to raise your kids in the Flatwoods or you're not doing anything right.
And that's all I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
My whole life.
Literally same, but not the Flatwoods.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get back to John's Crossroads, honestly.
But y'all are blessed to be so close together. Like, even though you don't live, like, I mean,
I only live 10 minutes from my parents and my grandparents.
But, like, it's 25 minutes to get to my mom and dad's house.
Right.
And that's hard. And that's why I do want to wait to have kids, because I can't drive from Piedmont to my mom and dad's and then 25 more minutes to work. And then that's, like, so much. And
that's like the drive that Callie's doing every day.
Like, I already, like, can't. Like, I don't get off early enough, and I start early, and so I literally have to leave my house at 6 in the morning to get there, and then I wouldn't even get home till 8:30 or 9 probably. That's hard on a kid, too. And I don't want to do that to my parents, because...
It's kind of like 12 hours of 14 hours of taking care of somebody else's kid. You're like, okay, 8 is fine, but 14 is a little much, you know.
And I don't want to, like...
That's over a work day.
Yeah.
That's a Grant work day.
So, yeah.
So he says. Okay, Callie, do you have any questions right now, or do we need?
Got off on a tangent.
No, we did.
I think I had one, but I've lost it. It's gone. I just got so caught up in what y'all were talking about.
So I'm trying to think. So let's just talk a little bit about our friendship. I think we spent the most time together after COVID happened.
Yeah, the pandemic.
Like, I remember one time you almost slung me off the back of the 4-wheeler going up to Peanut Mountain.
I don't remember.
You don't remember that? I was like hanging on to the racks for dear life, and you're like, let's go up here and hang some hammocks. So we went up there and we hung hammocks on Peanut Mountain.
Yeah.
And then one time.
Find that on Google Maps.
No, it's a Flatwoods secret.
Yep.
Only people in the Flatwoods know, or people that have been to the Flatwoods and been to Peanut Mountain. I couldn't even find Peanut Mountain if I tried to.
No.
I don't even know. I think you go down your road, turn to the left, and then go up there and turn to the right, and then it's back to the left. Okay. Mm-hmm. My memory. Okay, I've only been up there twice.
So it's not a secret anymore. You can go find it now.
They won't be able to find it.
There's a lot of trails to go down.
There is. I remember we rode that one time with Grant. Remember, it was Grant's birthday. We had all been to Rome to the upstairs bar.
Yeah, we went.
And then we were like,
with the big
let's not go here anymore. Let's go riding. And we rode all night long.
During the pandemic, I literally floated the creek, went riding, and hung out with you every day.
Every day.
It was awesome.
And Brad was like, y'all don't need to be hanging out with each other every day in case one of y'all's got COVID. We were like, Brad, come on.
And now that Hank is here, my nephew, he's like, he freaks out over the littlest thing.
Hank will be like,
he's like, do you feel okay? Are you sure? Like, it's so funny.
I remember one time we got on the Gator and we went plumb into Georgia. And you were telling me about some people out in there that grow pot or something. Yeah. And they pulled a gun on somebody. I don't know who it was. Or was it you that told me that? Somebody accidentally run up on that pot field or whatever. And they got a gun pulled on and told them never come back.
I don't even know if
Wow.
It's not like a whole field. When I went to New York, I saw whole fields. Like, it's just, and you smell it.
Ooh. Does it smell the same?
Yeah. Yeah. It's slightly different, but yeah. It's crazy. But they were like, I would ride back in there by myself, and my dad was like, you cannot do that. And
somebody will kill you.
like, you cannot go back there by yourself. You never know who's going to be back there. And I was like, it's fine. Well, I came up on this old RV. And I was like, bad. Surely there's nobody in there. And I did see somebody. I turned around. I was like, this gator can't go fast enough. Because I was so scared. And I never, after that, I didn't really go back there by myself.
Well, it's kind of like, have you seen that movie Deliverance?
No.
Have you? Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
I've
like
heard about it.
Going off deep into the flatwoods where you don't even know where you're at gives me Deliverance vibes. Like, you don't know what kind of people are living out in the woods out there.
Know.
There could be people that are not even civilized living out in the woods.
And then when you're back there, you're technically in Georgia, so.
And there ain't no popo out there.
No.
Not unless they find out there's going to be a ride and then they hide. But you, middle of the afternoon, you riding out in the flatwoods. Banjo boys can come and get you or something. Okay. What do you got to say, Callie?
Y'all, every time I get to answer or get to a question, y'all already answer it before I can.
Just interrupt us.
No, because then I have to go for the mic, and
you can. I'll keep it right here, and you can reach for it.
That's okay.
Me and KateLynn have basically picked up. Like, we haven't seen each other in a long time.
Yeah, that's one thing about me and Abby. We're gonna pick up where we left off. And sometimes me and Abby kind of fight like we siblings or something. Me and Abby will get in a knockdown, drag out straight up.
I do have a confession about that. Like, there's been times before where, like, and this was like in the past, like years ago, like close to 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, if you and KateLynn would get in an argument and she would like rant to me about it, I wouldn't like you anymore. I just wouldn't.
So, like, your mom also would be like that.
Yeah.
I did not tell Mama the fights that me and you got into.
Well,
Mama had beef with you because you just said whatever you wanted to say. She don't have beef with you no more.
No,
but
she don't be seeing her in Walmart.
But I did not like you, bro. And I was like, I don't even know why you hang out with her anymore. Like, I just wish you would just cut her loose. Like,
So I'm also that girl. Like, if somebody's telling me that they don't like somebody, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't like them either. And then the next time I see them, they're like, oh, we made it up. I'm like, yeah, y'all should have done that in the beginning. Like, I'm always like.
Bro, me and Abby, bro. Okay. Somebody come and tell us, one of our other friends or something come and tell us that because we hung out with guys. We hung out with Blake's friends. This is just me and Abby and then all of Blake's friends
That
and
didn't
Blake.
care about us. So we were basically our own thing.
I know. I swear, we just kind of sat over in the corner by ourselves. But, like, one of those boys dated a girl. Like, if they dated somebody and that girl did them wrong, we hated that girl.
Oh,
We were like, mm-mm.
We were like, no.
We're like, and then when they'd take her back, we were like,
and then we had to be friends with her again.
yeah, and then we'd have to hang out with her again. It was always something. So me and Abby were like, we're kind of like the queens of the castle. Like, we didn't let the other girls come in and
Well, like all the other girls were jealous of us.
they were, and I don't know why.
I mean, because
We were just chilling over there in the corner.
Queen status.
Queen status.
That's how me and my Abby are. We act like that, even though, you know, there's not been anybody that, like, our other friend has had to, like, come in, but we've always talked about, like, if you find this person, like, we gonna set her straight, you know? Like, she's not, I don't know, she's gonna be on the outside for a little while.
Well, it's like when me and Abby hung out with all these, and it's not any particular, like, girl, it was just all of them. Like, and they were, some of them were younger than us, some of them were a little older, but, like, it wasn't that we wanted to be with those boys, that we wanted to date them, but, like, we were protective of them. They were like our brothers. Honestly. Except for Blake. He wasn't like my brother, but the rest of them were.
I would hope not.
Yeah. Blake was probably like your brother.
Between me and you is I'm more willing to take somebody in, and you are very hesitant.
I'm like,
Because KateLynn doesn't like change. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it either, but
Devin
KateLynn's
and
really
KateLynn
not.
are so much alike. It's crazy. Like, he's the same way.
So it's like you live with your best friend.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
you know what they say. When you go to marry somebody like your best friend.
I've never heard that.
I just made it up. I'm just joking.
Exactly.
But yeah, me and Devin are a lot alike, and I realized that when I met him for the first time. I was like, literally, we came from the same loins. Like, he has the same, like, weird mannerisms that I have. Like, he's just weird, and I'm weird. He's quirky, and I'm quirky. And I was like, Devin, we're the same.
Hunter calls me like that. He's like, Callie, you're weird. And I'm like, I'm not weird. And he's like, that's why you and KateLynn get along, because y'all are both weird. And I was like, okay.
But everybody's weird in their own way.
Yeah. I think mine's more awkward, weird, quirky. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, that meme where there's somebody crying and that person's like petting them with a broom. That's me.
Okay. So listen, I was sitting there at the pub one night just talking to a friend, and she was like crying to me. And no, I just sat there. I was like, so how are your kids? Like, I was trying to like make her not cry. I was like, so how are your kids? All this. The bartender goes across, and like he's literally so close to me. He's like with a napkin, and I just like I see it in the corner of my eye, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like. Is he wanting me to give her a napkin? Like, I didn't.
It's a napkin for your face.
Like, I was like, I'm weird about when people cry.
I am too. I don't like when people cry. It kind of stresses me out a little bit. And there we go. Yeah. So I really don't know how to react. I think that's something we should talk about. Because and it can come across as maybe you're being kind of a butt, and because like you were saying, I was trying to change the subject. Like, it wasn't you were trying to change the subject because you were trying to be a butt, but like you don't know what to say in those situations.
I'm not an empathetic person. I don't know what people like unless I've been through that. I don't know how you feel about what you're going through, because I don't know what it's like.
See, I feel like I feel people's emotions pretty well. Like, if you're crying, I'm about to cry too. Like, I don't even know what we're crying about, but I'll cry.
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel like I need to cry, but I hurt for them deep down. It doesn't look like it on my face. Apparently.
I don't.
No, it doesn't look like that on your face.
No, I don't. Like,
you look like you're just ready for them to
like
quit. Abby's like,
so confused.
What was that?
You just smash?
She didn't want to wear the headphones, so she didn't know. She didn't want to hear her own voice.
No, I don't.
But anyway, look, this is like with KateLynn, it's kind of awkward sometimes. Like, I don't know, we were driving in the car the other day, and I was like, man, I really love her. Like, I really do. I love her so much, and I want to tell her, but if I tell her, she's going to be like,
okay, don't talk to me for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I can't talk to you.
Like, I'm afraid a lot of times to tell her I love her. And, like, it's not that I don't want to. I want to tell her so bad, but I'm like, I'm going to freak her out. Like, I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable, you know?
I love you.
I love you, too. But I don't know. We were just. What'd you say?
She said she feels weird right now.
Oh.
Like, with that moment, I just didn't.
I don't know. Like, we were driving in the car the other day, and I told her, I said, I just feel so much, like, nostalgia with you. Like, you just take me back. And that's why I like to hang out with you so much. And then I sat there and I thought about it, and I was like, I love her. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to say that. Because I feel like I have to explain myself before I say it. I don't want you to think it's too mushy, but I just have to tell you, just in case something happens to us on the way home. Like, that's what I go through that whole thing before I ever tell her that.
I'm definitely not like that at all.
Yeah.
And I actually don't think me and KateLynn have ever hugged each other.
Are you serious?
No.
I'm pretty sure.
I hug Abby every time I leave.
No, like, me and Abby aren't like that. Like, I love Abby and Abby loves me, but we don't say it. Unless there's something like, you know, we don't say it in person. No. I'll text her and be like, Abby, I just want you to know, I hope you're doing okay, and I love you and I miss you. And she's like, yes, I love you and I miss you too. But we don't be hugging.
I don't think we've ever hugged before.
If we have, it's been one time, and it's been something like
maybe like a wedding or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Or like a side hug. If you're like it's not really technically a hug. You're taking a picture, and you're just like taking
yeah.
But
Mama, you know, is a hugger, and Mama makes Abby hug her.
She does every time. But
you don't want to hug her?
Well, no, it's not that. Like, the whole Walker side of my family are huggers, and the Richardsons are really not. So it's like, when I know, like, they're a hugger, I will hug somebody just because, like, I know, like, huggers get upset if you don't hug them back. Like, that's a thing. And so, and if you're, like, hugging a non-hugger, it's, like, weird.
They're like, stop touching me, please.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I will hug somebody if I know they're a hugger, but I'm not going to hug you for very long. Yeah. You get, like, a little, and you're done.
Okay, we're going to take a little pause real quick, reset our stuff, and we're going to get back with Abby and get into the nitty gritty. Okay. So, we're going to talk about some church hurt. That's going to be one of our topics for the day. So, Abby's going to kind of tell her side of the story, and we can kind of get into it, but we're not going to get deep into it because it's honestly like it's a very sensitive subject for. I mean, it's sensitive for us. I feel like because we kind of experienced it, but the church we were going to as teenagers, and then I wouldn't say. Well, I think I left before I turned 20. Maybe not. But anyway,
It was kind of before the pandemic. Because,
was it? Yes, it was.
Because they closed, church.
Okay,
down.
yeah. So late teens, like last year of our
We
teens.
graduated and we still went.
Yeah. Okay, so not to go into too many details or whatever, but the pastor was not going by what the Bible said was right. There was a couple of things.
And so I grew up in the church. We've had so many different pastors, growing up in that church, and they don't stay for very long. So when my church found someone, it's like even if they were like doing something, which I only remember this situation the most because I was older when it happened, but like.
Some things would get excused that
it would get excused because it's like, oh, we don't want to have to turn around and look for a whole nother pastor anymore. Like,
well, I mean, we're talking about a church that's got max 40 people on a good day.
On a good 30 day. On a good day, I would say.
Okay, well.
And half of them are my family.
Right, because y'all weighed that one side down over there.
Oh, yeah, I was going to tip over.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us your little story then.
Okay, so we found a preacher, and we were like, oh, this is going to be great. He has 2 young kids. He was a youth pastor, and one of my good friends in high school at the time, he was her youth pastor. So whenever we did fun things, he kind of included we went with other churches that were smaller. So it was one big thing. So we did a lot of things. I met a lot of different people, and I would always invite my friend Skylar because she knew him, and I didn't want to be the only one for my church to go because this was before y'all got there and y'all so then KateLynn and them started coming, and our church was really growing. When y'all started coming, there was a few more people that came. I don't even remember now who, but it was really doing good, and I feel like I was like, oh, this is a great church. We have it going on. And then it just fell off because our pastor wasn't doing the things he was preaching on, and he was honestly being a hypocrite. He was preaching against what he was doing outside of church. So,
not to say that he was a terrible guy.
No,
he really wasn't, but it was just.
And I've talked.
He's still a good guy.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen and talked to him since. Yeah. And it's not weird or anything, but it's why would you tell somebody something is super wrong and you're going to hell, and that you're literally doing it at home?
Right. And my thing with him is I like him as a person. As a pastor, he wasn't a fit. And I think he started realizing he wasn't a fit. And I really think God convicted him of those things. And I think that's why he ended up leaving.
Yeah.
So, he did the right thing by getting out. So I'm not trying to condemn him for getting out, because he was, at that point, he was doing the right thing.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think it was But honestly, I think he was fighting his own demons too.
It was like he almost he was trying to change and trying to be what he wanted, what he was saying at church. He wanted to be that, but it's
he couldn't.
Yeah,
it's he couldn't. He just couldn't, physically could not.
Real world one,
right? And
for him,
so. I mean, it's hard to talk about, really. I hate to sit here and speak on it because I don't know how he felt personally, but I know, I hope he's doing well, and I hope that he's, doing what he wants to do. But
during all of that, I was actually struggling with a relationship and that at the same time. And then COVID kind of happened. And so, I completely changed my outlook. And I recently, just now, well, not just now, but like a couple years ago when I met Devin and I started going to his church, that's when I was like, I literally fell off so hard. I was not the Christian I should have been. But, I mean, a lot was happening during that to make that. And I was like, if my preacher's going to come here lie every day, like, for 3 years, I literally don't even know. Like,
it was kind of like you felt led astray.
Yeah. I was like, it's like, in my mindset,
it felt like betrayal.
Why? Yeah, like why is he preaching all this stuff? Like, should I have even listened to him for the 3 whole years he was here? Like, he literally influenced me, and then now I'm like, oh my gosh, like.
It's like you thought you knew somebody, and then turns out you don't know him
and
at
it's
all.
like, was he lying every time he came up here? Which, yeah, he was about his personal life, but not about the Bible.
Right.
But it made you think it made me think differently.
And I feel like that's where you get into the church hurt thing, where you feel like you've been betrayed by somebody who's, I guess, the highest person in the church. Yeah, I mean, you feel like you've been lied to, and then you're like, well, what's real and what's not? Like, what you can go look up in the Bible is real, but the way he's interpreting it and stuff, it just felt kind of, and that's why we left, because we left before all this happened. Like, a couple of weeks before it happened, I told Blake I felt like I was being pulled away. And that's why we started going to New Bethel, because, it got to where it was just me and Blake going to church there. Like, Mama was having to work, Daddy was having to work, Callie was working, Carly.
It's like, everybody at our church.
Everybody just started dropping like flies.
Yeah, they just started. It's like all of a sudden there was only 10 people there. And it's like everybody just kind of picked up and started a whole new life. Like, my mom left, and she would not go back, and I would go without her. And just because I knew I needed to go to church, but I didn't know.
Well, you're confused.
But, like, that's the only church I've ever been to. So I was like, I guess I'll stick it out. Like, I don't know. So I was taking me and my little cousin to church every day, and I was teaching Sunday school. I was like trying, but really I was hurt that my mom wouldn't come to church with me, because I've never not gone to church with my mom.
Right.
So she just wouldn't go, and now she doesn't go to church still because she cleans on Sundays, but she really wants to be back, but she don't know where she feels apart, because she too grew up in that church. So she's trying to find a place where she feels apart. And my dad actually never felt at home there. So him and my mom got married, and like he truly didn't want to go there. He's always wanted to find a whole different church. So it's crazy that all of this happened, because now they can go find a church for them and not what she always knew.
Yeah. And I think that just goes back to like we as Christians and we as church members need to be very careful about the stuff that we do and the stuff that we say. And like, I feel like that church was always good about not letting people, but when people would come in that maybe weren't as fortunate as some of us, they were pretty accepting.
Yes, yeah.
When you get to these churches that think that they're mightier than thou and think that you need to be wearing black tie affair
most of the
clothing on Sundays to church, like some people can't afford new clothes, let alone something nice.
And I hate to say this, but most of the churches in our area are like that, and that's why there's so many people in our town that don't go to church.
I feel like that's true, because I know somebody personally that has been hurt by somebody in the ministry, and it was just something that had nothing to do with ministry.
But that can turn you away so fast.
It can.
And God doesn't want us to be like that.
No. And like it just kind of stinks that, you can have somebody inside of the church, whether it be a pastor or a deacon or just a church member, say something just a little bit too over the line, and it caused somebody to say, if that's what being a Christian is, I don't want to be one.
So that kind of happened at Devin's church last Sunday. But I'll let Callie ask a question.
Well, I wasn't going to ask. I was just going to comment on it. Like, with most of the time, the bigger churches, especially in our area, can be, like, non-accepting, I guess. But there's a lot of things too. Like, I know that Hunter and his family, like, they used to go to church, especially him and his mom. They would go to church, and I don't think it was a big church, but they got hurt in church. I don't know the exact story. But then, you know, in the church we grew up in, we got hurt in our church because, and it wasn't a big church. It was a small church, but just simply because the church leader wanted to make everything about him and his family instead of what it was about to be there. And it kind of turned people away. And then I remember one Sunday, like, we were only coming for Sunday school because we didn't want to listen to him preach about how good his family was and not how, you know, how good God is.
No. We were there for preaching.
Because we didn't want to hear him preach. This is what happened. We went for Sunday school, and then we would leave before preaching because we wanted to get something out of church, but we just didn't want to hear him preach. So one day he flipped it around, and he did preaching first and Sunday school last. So, because he knew what we were doing, and he thought, okay, I'm going to pull a fast one on you, and he switched it around and was like, yeah, we're going to do preaching today first, and then we're going to do Sunday school, and then we left.
But it wasn't just about, I thought it was to get people to come to Sunday school is why he flipped it. Because I remember him making the comment on the pulpit. He was like, we're just going to preach right now. At like 10, he did preaching, and then when people, you know, started coming in, and it kind of ruffled some feathers, but it wasn't just us that was coming in for Sunday school. It was, I don't know, it was a bunch of families. Like, it was some of your family members, you know who I'm talking about, that whole group of family. And then that one side, really, it was like, but it was a split.
Yeah.
We ended up getting run out of the church. Like, not run out of the church, but like, he kind of forced our hand. We were like, we can't go and be a part of a church that does this. So we were kind of forced out. I mean, they weren't going to make him step down. So we were just kind of, it forced our hand.
Yeah.
Well, and I know that there's still a lot of people there. They go there because it's just where they've gone for a long time. And I think they want to leave, but they just don't because their family's there now, you know?
And it is really hard.
But we did find a place, like, well, Mama and Granddad, I think, started going there first, and then you followed them, you and Blake. But New Bethel was like the new childhood church, you know, like, it did feel like home. So we started going there, but I don't know, like, I feel like for a lot of people, it doesn't matter where you go. I do feel like at least once in somebody's life, they're going to get hurt by somebody in the church. And it's not the whole church. I mean, sometimes it could be the whole church. But I feel like a lot of times it's literally just one person that turns them around and is like, okay, you said something sideways, and now, you know, like, you got me upset. And that flows into people not wanting to ever go try a new one again. And I understand that. But at the same time, at some point, you do need to go to church. Like, you need that structure and that constant relationship and the fellowship with other people. So, like, I get if you get your feelings hurt and you don't go for a while, but, like, you need to get back out there. If you really want to be a true Christian, like, you've got to get back out there and try it again, because I know it can be tough to try again, but, like, you can't just sit there and mope about it and say, oh, well, I don't need to go to church to be a Christian, or I don't need to go to church to know that, like, I get that. You don't have to go to church to know that you're saved, but it's like it's a relationship. You have to grow that relationship. You can't just not go.
So, sorry, do you want to?
I just needed to add something real quick. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but I hear a lot of people say, oh, well, I don't go to church, but I'm saved, or, you know, I don't need to go to church to, I still say my prayers. You can say your prayers all day that you want to. You can do all that. You can, you know, say that you're saved or whatever. But if you're not going and worshiping and having that relationship and fellowship like what you said, you know, that really needs to be something that you can't do that over a phone. You know, when COVID happened and they were doing the live things, like,
It was not the same.
It's not the same. You know, I know they've got some mega churches now where they do the thing on the screen, and I'm not trying to judge, but I don't feel right about that. I feel like it's different because I've not been exposed to that.
Yeah.
So for people that's all they know, I guess that seems right for them. But for me, I don't feel like you can get the goods out of the sermon if you're not seeing the pastor stand right there behind the pulpit instead of on a screen.
Yeah.
And like if you're sitting at home, you know, watching it off your phone, like I understand for people that can't get out, older people, you know, that are scared they're going to get sick. But like if you're capable to get up and take your children to church, they need that. You need that. And that's my hot take on it.
Well, y'all are kind of leading up into what's been happening at my husband's church. I say my husband's church because I'm not a member there yet.
Let's pause because I don't know how long it'll take you, and we've only got 5 minutes left on the thing. So let's take a pause real quick, and then we'll get back into Abby's story.
Okay, so now Abby, get into it.
Okay, so I've been going to church with Devin since we were dating, and every time, like, so his parents were very big on, you go pick her up, you take her home, she never needs to be driving here, like, if she don't have to. So during and I didn't want to go to Sunday school as a new visitor because I don't know anybody or anything like that. So Devin would come pick me up during their Sunday school, which starts at 9:30, and their services start at 10:30. So he would come pick me up. We would get there, church, all the things, and a guy that was in Devin's Sunday school class, he's about our age, he would always be like, why don't you come to Sunday school, man? Like, come to Sunday school. And Devin's always like, well, I go and pick Abby up. And he's like, well, she can come to Sunday school. And I've never not gone to Sunday school. And I'm not against going to Sunday school there, but their Sunday school class is literally anywhere from, if you're not in youth, you're in one class, and it's from 20-year-olds to 80-year-olds.
No way.
And I'm like, I don't share the same thoughts and feelings as people that are older than me like that.
Let me just say, that's like sitting in the middle of the congregation and they're asking you if you have a prayer request and you feel stupid to stand up because you're 24 years old. And I know what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like okay, let's say whoever's leading Sunday school ask a question. Mm-hmm. Your answer may be different from Miss Linda's over here.
Yeah.
And Miss Linda may have interpreted that differently.
She's going to judge you.
Yeah, and you're going to feel like she's like, well, that's dumb. They don't know anything. It kind of feels like you're kind of boxed in. And Callie's like fixing my hair. Thank you, Shawty.
And
You were saying something.
I forgot
and
when I felt the thing on my head.
Mom was the Sunday school teacher at the time, so it's not like I didn't want to go, but also I was like, I'm just now dating her son. Like, I don't really feel comfortable with her teaching me Sunday school and all the things. And so, we got engaged, and I still didn't want to go to Sunday school. We're married, and I still don't go to Sunday school. And Devin's mom actually like turned it over to somebody else. And she even said, like, she was like, I would not feel right teaching you in Sunday school. Like, nothing like we have against each other, but it's like, it's just weird. Like, she don't, like, if Devin and I had problems and I wanted to talk about it in Sunday school and get advice and stuff like that, like, she was like, I don't want to know because you might not want me to know. But like, that would be my only option there. So, and okay, so then every time, I don't know if it's a sign or anything, or if it's just me, because it's probably just me, because I overanalyze and overthink. But every time I'm like, okay, I'll move my letter, like I feel like I should be a member here, something is said or something happens. So when me and Devin were dating, the youth girls Sunday school teacher, like, basically stalked my Instagram pretty much, and like saw where I went to Nashville. Well,
With me.
Okay. When I went to Nashville, I was not even 21. We barely even got to stay in a hotel.
Go ahead, but we're going to get into that.
So we barely even got to get our own hotel room. And she was basically telling those girls that Nashville is a sin city. Like, you don't need to be going there. The devil's all up in that place. Like, and I'm like, for one, we got into one bar And we walked around. We were like, all right, we're kind of.
But it was a restaurant too.
It was a restaurant too. Yeah.
And we got kicked out as soon as it hit 9
Honestly,
o'clock.
Like, I do drink occasionally, but I don't ever just like go and get
Plastered.
yes.
Okay. But
I'm not a Christian that says, "Oh, I would never drink," and then turns around and goes to the pub.
But I don't think this is my opinion. I'm not gonna. I think if you drink in moderation and you're not getting drunk, I think it's fine. If you're out here drinking and you're getting drunk, I think that's when it's a sin because you do things maybe a little subconsciously.
That's what I thought. I thought to be drunken was
It is
the sin.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
Just to drink.
No. And so a lot of people at Devin's church are like, we don't drink, we don't do anything. And Devin's parents, I know, used to. Like, I know that they used to. And now they just refuse it at all. But I just think, but there's somebody in Devin's family that was an alcoholic, so they just kind of don't because that's just their family's thing. But, I mean, I grew up around that, and I don't have anybody that's an alcoholic in my family. Like, I've never dealt with that firsthand. Like, I have heard about it and seen it with other people. But, like, I didn't grow up knowing, and I guess, like, I didn't grow up knowing that drinking and getting drunk wasn't okay, I guess.
But it's also the fact that it's not somebody else's place in the church to judge you and talk to you about it. And then air their self out and be like, I'll stalk your Instagram to find that.
So my sister-in-law was in that class, and she told me, finally, it took a while for her to actually say it. I think everyone in their family knew, and they didn't want to tell me just because they didn't want me to know. But I was like, why are you telling all these girls like that I've never met? And for one, the lady never even spoke to me, period, when I first started going there. Like, she just now, probably 6 months ago, started talking to me.
Here's the thing. You are, how many other girls your age are going to that church?
Just a couple.
Okay. Y'all are being looked up to by these girls that are in the youth. They're going to be looking at y'all, okay? And for somebody to bring up your past and throw it up in your face to some high school girls that are, I mean, let's be honest. You're going to have an opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you see somebody that you think is on the straight and narrow, and then somebody comes and tells you that they're not, or tries to make you think that they're not, you're going to have a different opinion about somebody that you used to look up to.
Yeah.
And I feel like her doing that, we didn't drink in Nashville. We weren't old enough.
No,
we were 19 years old, frolicking in Nashville.
If she would have known me, she would have known that.
But just getting the, scraping the surface of what, I mean, she didn't know how old you were when we were in Nashville.
And she noted that I took a picture. We went and ate at a Mexican restaurant. I had a couple of margaritas, and I just took a straw, and I just took like a cute picture of me drinking both. But I didn't drink both margaritas at the same time. Like, I don't even know if one of them was actually mine, honestly. Right. And so, like, I took a picture being, like, cute, and she was like, and I didn't even, like, post it on my main thing. You'd have to slide over to be able to see it. But, like, I guess I don't want to be like a Christian that's a hypocrite. So I'm not going to tell you that drinking is not okay or doing whatever you're doing is not okay, because I probably have done that, but I'm still.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I had never drank.
Yeah.
I mean, I have. I don't currently, just because I don't enjoy it. I don't get what others get out of it. But, you know, I'm not going to go over here and say that, oh, Sally Sue over here is drinking a beer, but she goes to the Baptist church. Like, that ain't my place. Yeah. I don't know if she's drunk or not. That's between her and the good Lord. That's not between me and her.
Yeah.
And, you know, with that woman saying Nashville's a sin city, it probably is. And let's just be honest.
A lot of bad happens there, but a lot of bad happens everywhere. It happens here. It happens everywhere you go.
But, you know, just because I took my honeymoon to Nashville doesn't mean that I was down there playing with the devil either.
Exactly.
Just because the devil's lurking around everywhere, and he may be more present there because there's a lot of sin going on there. Let's be honest, there is. Yeah. There's bars up and down that strip.
Yeah.
There's people getting drunk. That's a sin, and if that's what's going on, she's right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't her place to judge you. To
when
those girls,
didn't even know who I was and what I.
She took it out of context. She didn't exactly.
Yeah.
So what else? I mean, what else?
So and then, this happened like last Sunday, and it's something so silly, but it's like it really did make a lot of people mad, including my pastor.
Oh.
So there's another guy. He's a leader of a church. He's like a leader of our church. So he was actually the old preacher there, and he just still goes, and we have a new preacher now. And he was like, so one Sunday it was like super hot in there. Everybody was sweating. Everybody was fanning. And like Devin was like literally getting sick. Like it was that hot, like where you're so hot, And so the preacher's wife sits in a pew in front of us, and she was like, it's so hot in here. Like, so Devin's dad sits on the back row. He just went and like turned the air down a little bit. And Patrick, if he listens to this, they're gonna die because he said not to talk about it anymore. But
don't listen, Patrick.
This is just like a silly thing, like y'all said earlier, like something that don't even have to do with God, and like it makes you not want to go to church. Well, then. So he turns the air down a little bit and everything's fine. Well, then a couple Sundays later, and apparently they had revival and like something else with the air happened because it's on a schedule. Right. So revival, we're not there Monday, Tuesday. They're on Wednesdays, but so it was going to be hot on Monday and Tuesday if nobody changed it. And when you're older, you don't think about that. And when you're older, you're not cold. I mean, you're cold all the time.
When you're older, you probably hadn't grown up like Mama and Granddaddy. They don't ever cut the air on in their house unless it's hot outside because they grew up without air conditioning, so they don't care if it's like 70 degrees in the house.
So then he gets up, he's doing the morning announcements, and he's like, and all the time, he's like, if you're not coming to Sunday school, why? Why are you not coming to Sunday school? And I'm like,
Make more opportunities.
I feel like he's talking to me. Like, I know he's probably not because there's several people that go to our church that do not participate in Sunday school. But I'm like, it's because I don't like the way they do Sunday school there, but I'm not really a member there.
So you can't have an opinion.
It's like I feel like I don't have an opinion, but I'm friends with the preacher and his wife, so like I could easily say something and they're like, yeah, and my preacher really wants to change things. But it's hard when everyone's so stuck in their ways. And this church is not, everyone there says they don't have a big church, but it's big to me because
bigger than yours.
Yes, I grew up with a small church. So then, and he also was like, if you're not authorized to touch the air conditioner, you don't need to be touching it.
No.
And so that's when.
That would have made me mad. Because he was talking to Devin's dad.
He was talking about Devin's dad, and the preacher's wife turned around and she was like, well, it was so hot, and I told y'all to turn it down too. Like,
so he was authorized.
Yeah, like she was like, she said, I authorized y'all. And that really, like, that even made the preacher and his wife a little upset because he could have said that in Sunday school because there were. Like, Devin really got upset about it because he was like, what if there were visitors here? They heard it, and they're never going to come back because of what an older man said about a dang air conditioner.
Or just the fact that, like, he could have told Devin's dad specifically, hey, like, dude, just please don't touch the stuff anymore.
Exactly.
Like,
and
that's all it was.
But the thing is, Devin's family's been going to that church for over 20 years. So it's not like we've been there for 2 years and they're touching the air conditioner.
It's a little backhanded.
Yeah, and so that really did, and it's not like it didn't embarrass him, Devin's dad, at all.
But it was like disrespectful.
And they literally sit in Sunday school together. So like, why not just say, hey, or come to him to the side? Because he would have appreciated that a lot more than being called out in front of everybody.
Because everybody probably saw him get or
not
some
everybody,
people,
but all the back row people. But we were all so hot, like sweating. So, and like Devin was like, I don't want to sit in church and be uncomfortable. Like, if I'm going to have to sit there with no air on Sundays, like, I'm just not going to go. Like, Devin said that. And I was
and that's saying a lot coming from Devin.
Yes. And I was like, Devin, don't say that just because the air was too hot or whatever. He was like, no, like, church is somewhere where you're supposed to feel comfortable, and like, you should meet the needs of everyone, or try to. And every old lady there has a blanket on their pew. So it's not like they're going to be freezing cold, because they all bring a blanket. They all wear little jackets and stuff. And when the air's on like 75, it's hot when there's 70 people there.
There it is.
So, but that really got me, and I was like, if they're calling people out like this, and like they're making me feel bad for not going to Sunday school, I don't really want to be a member here. But I do, because I love everyone that goes to that church. Like, I do love it there, because I've never been to a place where there's been people my age or around my age, all the kids there, all the high school girls, like, I've become really close with. I've started doing most of their hair. Like, they came to my house after prom, and I had them a little after prom party together, and it made me feel good, because even though what they heard about me in Sunday school 2 years ago,
they still look up to you.
They do, and they realized, I guess, it just made me happy that they were so excited just to come to my house, even though we weren't going to be doing anything. Like, they definitely could have been out
drinking and getting drunk and driving. And
exactly, and they could have been anywhere else, and they were all so excited to be at my house, and that made me happy.
It's giving Heather Drew vibes. Shout out to you, Heather.
You laughed like her a while ago, by the way.
Did I?
I don't know. Who is that?
Heather Hubbard.
Oh.
We went to church with Heather and all them. And so Heather was like that, because she was older than all of us. So we all, like me and Alyssa and Callie and Carly and Catherine and Hannah and Jordan and all of them. Shout out to all y'all. We were all like, we worshipped the ground Heather walked on, because she was...
I even remember Heather, because Noah and my brother played baseball together.
Yeah.
And so I just remembered, like, seeing her. I was like,
And she's so sweet.
She truly is.
She's like the kindest person. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about Heather.
Can't. You
literally can't. People can say bad stuff about me, but not Heather.
No.
Not Heather.
No.
What you mean by that, Callie?
I was saying that for myself too. Like, people can say bad stuff about me, but like, I'll never hear anybody say anything bad about Heather.
Yeah.
So,
no. But that just made me happy, and Devin called Patrick and was like, that's my preacher's name. He wouldn't care if I mentioned him, but he called him and was like, hey, like, I really want to talk to you about Sunday school. Like, he was like, I feel, because Devin's always gone. So
that's normal for him.
And I told Devin, I was like, I don't want you to not go to Sunday school, because I don't want to go. Like, you can easily go. And he was like, no, I don't want to go sit in class with my dad or older people. Like, he's like, I have no wants for that. And I was like, you shouldn't, like, you should crave Sunday school. Like, it's more personable. It should be more personalized to your specific.
Your gender, where you're at in life.
Yes.
Married.
And
youth.
And me and Devin agree to disagree on a lot, because he's a little bit different than I am. But like, we both were saying the same things to each other about what we wanted from church.
Right.
So
I feel like with that many people, it can easily be accommodating for females. Like,
But they say they don't have a lot of people, so they're like, our Sunday school classes would just be really small. Well,
that's what
not necessarily.
It doesn't matter.
If you cater to more people and you split up and you do things a little bit differently and modernize church a little bit more, you would have so many more younger people that would come to Sunday school.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel that it should be different. Like, we don't have to live like in the 1800s like they did with church. Like, honestly, every church around here, though, when somebody younger tries to modernize it, it's like all the older people get so mad, and why should we cater to y'all? Because
I agree. Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. Let's take a quick pause.
Okay.
All right, y'all. I think that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thank you, Abby, for coming in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have her back. She's got another topic she's going to talk about later in the year, maybe. We got a full schedule. We're going to make time for her.
I feel special now.
Yeah.
I almost did not come today, but I felt led to. Like,
Oh,
so
love that.
basically, like, I told Callie I was doing her hair or something. I was like, I told KateLynn I didn't want to do the podcast because I just truly didn't know what I wanted to talk about, but really I did. No.
You just didn't feel
But a lot
right about it at first?
And then when Callie left, she was like, well, we can still find something for you to talk about. Then I texted you, and I was like, I want to do the podcast again.
Yeah, because I had give up on Abby. I was like, when do you want to come? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, just don't worry about it. Because at that point, I was fed up. I was like, just don't even come.
She's like, we're not even friends anymore.
She texted me a week later. She's like, I do want to come be on the podcast. And I was like, oh, good. Because I had a hole and I needed to fill it.
But I think that fell perfectly into place because I felt like I needed to come. But I was trying to be like, and I couldn't.
So, yeah. Fill out our forms.
Give me this. Okay.
I was about to say, I need y'all to embellish on the forms a little bit because I don't know what y'all are talking about.
We have a form, and it's you can fill it out. We have 3 different forms. We have a birthday form. You fill it out and you say your birthday or whatever, or somebody else's birthday, and we'll shout them out.
Happy birthday, Devin. Today is his birthday.
Happy birthday, Devin! And also, Emily had a birthday on May 4th. So happy birthday to May. Happy birthday to Emily.
Anyways, we have a birthday form. Fill it out for yourself or anybody else. We'll shout them out. And then we have a form where you can tell us like a story that you want us to share, and we'll talk about it, and we'll give our advice. What?
So the form that Callie's talking about, you can fill it out, but it will come in anonymous. So we don't know where it's from. So you can tell us, you can ask for advice. You can tell us some advice. You can say, I want you to tell my story on the podcast, but we won't know who it's from unless you leave your name on it. So you can fill that out. And then we have a t-shirt form that's got some merch on it. We haven't had anybody order a t-shirt yet, but And then we have a Patreon. Emily is our only subscriber on our Patreon as of this recording. So she won something from me and Callie. We're not sure yet. But it's $2.99 and you get exclusive episodes and all that kind of stuff.
And whoever is on our Patreon following thing, we're going to start doing monthly giveaways.
Where do you subscribe to that?
Just download the Patreon app and then you can just search up Beyond 21 and then you can hit subscribe and it'll just come out monthly $2.99.
I didn't know that because y'all have never said it on here, I don't think.
We do.
I've never heard y'all specifically be like.
Oh,
it could just be my ADHD.
Well,
I listen to y'all while I get ready for
we
work.
may just say Patreon. I know I mentioned it one time, but it was back when we were in Callie's room for her studio, in that studio. So maybe it has been a
download
while.
the app. I'll do that today.
Oh, dang. Got another subscriber.
Entered in the giveaway. Okay. Also, don't forget about our social media. We have Facebook, Instagram. Watch our videos on YouTube. They're better than the audio, I think, just because they're funnier.
And I'll play it and play it and play it.
And then what else? Oh, my TikTok, it's at Callie Jolly, I think. And if we get people to actually be looking at our stuff, I'll be posting stuff. But please look at our Facebook for sure, because Facebook is my go-to.
I'm gonna make Callie start doing screen recordings of the YouTube, clipping like her fave parts and then putting them on TikTok. I feel like that'd be the easiest way to do it.
Should do that too.
Yeah. Also, I'm making commercials and I'm going to start making music videos for anybody that wants to hop on that.
We are making commercials. I will be helping.
Callie's using the camera, but she'll be there. So if you want to see us live and in person, hit us up on the Facebook Messenger and we'll get with y'all. Or just email us at beyond21podcast@gmail.com. And I think that's going to be it for us today. Thanks for watching, listening, subscribing, liking, commenting, all the things.
This has been Beyond 21.
I'm KateLynn.
And I'm Callie.
And you're who?
Abby.
Bye, y'all.